Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach. And today I wanted to talk about what do you do with those shaming thoughts that just naturally occur? If you're a partner, the shame may be, I can't believe how much this infidelity has stolen from my being present with the kids. Or, oh, I am exhausted. And when my mother looked at me after finding out what I'd been through, it was as if she judged me. Now, if you're a betrayer, you may have shaming thoughts like, I was so ridiculous to believe that she would never find out. And now I have crushed the one person in the whole world that I love the most. I am a sick SOB. Or, I can't believe I told myself that I deserved this because I was working so hard. What is wrong with me? I must be nuts. These are really common um, thoughts that you have. We call them self-talk because you're actually talking to yourself, you're having the thought, and you're dialoguing. You're dialoguing, trying to figure out how you can work through the self-hatred that you feel when in actuality, that was the infidelity. That's not the man that you wanted to be. And you're working hard to be a different man, a man of integrity and honesty and transparency. And if you're a partner, wow, don't betray yourself. You cannot get angry at yourself for naturally reacting to the pain, the loss, and the suffering you felt after you found out about the infidelity. It's just not fair to do to yourself. So how do you cope? Well, it takes a lot of practice, but it is a technique called mindfulness. And there's all types of mindfulness, but this mindfulness is somewhat cognitive behavioral in nature. I actually have a handout that talks about the betrayer's shame and the partner's pain. Now, with the betrayer's shame, it goes something like this. So I'd like for you to create 3 columns. And as you think about your shame, I want you to ask yourself, what were the consequences of my acting out? And that might look like I have caused my wife not to trust herself. That might look like I have destroyed my partner's self-esteem. That might look like I was delusional to think that I could get away with this. And then, of course, the shaming thought is, yeah, I'm absolutely crazy. And the reframed thought is, I got caught up in something that felt so good, but was so wrong. And I've got my head, and now I am working on a fair recovery program that has me working on being my best self, showing up to my family, to the kids, to my wife, to everybody I care and love. I'm liking this new guy of integrity. A second one might be, I hurt so many people when I chose to act out. That is the consequences. And then the shaming thought would be, I am not worth anyone's love. And then the reframe thought would be, I have never felt good about myself, But I am learning that with my higher power's help, I can change the person I am and be the man I want to be. Okay, so that's how you do it if you're a betrayer. If you're a partner, it may look a little bit different. For instance, that first column might be, why am I staying? So after you ask yourself, why am I staying? You may have a natural thought that comes up and says, yeah, why am I staying in this sick relationship? My counselor told me it could take 3 years for both of our brains to heal. The shaming thought would be, I am too weak and I don't have a backbone, and he's going to walk all over me. But that kinder, gentler thought is, I realize that my husband's infidelity was a really bad choice, but it did not have to do with me. He made that choice and kept me in deception, and I am getting stronger every day. Now let's look at a second shaming thought for a partner. I didn't keep myself up the way I should. No wonder he chose somebody else. And then the shaming thought is, I will never measure up. And then the reframe thought is, I am a good person inside and out. And I'm going to work on my health, my spirit, and my energy to find a way to love life again. Or, why am I staying? I'm too afraid to leave. And the shaming thought would be, I am weak and pathetic. And the reframe thought would be, no, I have the right to stay as long as I want to for the sake of myself and my kids, and determine what's in my best interest 1 hour at a time. So if you would, together, but separately, meaning don't show each other your work, but in the same room, in the same house, I want the betrayer to write down the consequences of his or her actions, and then the ugly, shaming thoughts in column 2, and in column 3, the kinder reframe that shows the progress that you're making. And for the partner, think of the issue that you're most ashamed about. Maybe it's, why am I staying? Maybe it's, why am I putting up with this? Maybe it's, why don't I have any boundaries? And then answer that question, create column 2 with a shaming thought, the worst thing you think about yourself when you think about those issues. And then a kinder, gentler thought. And when you do that, you're combining cognitive behavioral therapy with mindfulness. And that's a very powerful thing. I am Carol Jurgensen Sheets, AKA Carol the Coach, and I want to help you with your situation, with your self-esteem, with your emotional state, and your feelings, one step at a time.